Welcome to Worldview Tube's Washington Report on this February 12th, 2026. I'm joined now by Jim Path of the conservativecaucus.com. Jim, how are you doing? We got some interesting news today.
Yeah, I'm doing well, and there's always interesting news in the present life of this country. Very interesting.
There is. Well, I guess we'll start out with this. Tom Homan, Border Czar Tom Homan, did a press conference and has announced that they are backing out of Minnesota. And he has also said that this is we're not backing down. He says, look at the numbers, the rest. We've finished the job that we came to do. And I think, some people on social media have taken it as that, as they're bowing the knee to Tim Walz. But let's play the clip of Border Czar Tom Homan.
For those that say we are backing down from immigration enforcement or the promise of mass deportations, you are simply wrong. Look at the data. Record number of arrests and deportations under President Trump's first year. And we'll continue that effort. Prioritizing public safety threats and national security threats doesn't mean we'll forget about everybody else. We will take action on everybody else. That's just a stone cold fact.
All right, there you go. That's just a stone cold fact. So that is news. He says that in the next week, we're going to deploy the officers here on detail back to their home stations or to other areas of the country where they're needed.
One thing that may be going on here, actually, it's probably both things, and they're not contradictory, although they may sound like it. First is this. Tom Homan walks in just a couple weeks ago, grabs hold of this thing because the man is a doer. He's capable, competent. And he actually did fix a lot of the problems that were going on. And I suspect he told Walz and Fry, you better get your act together because we're coming after you. And they realized that was a legitimate threat and pulled back. Because he did, I was watching this announcement when he said it. He also mentioned that the local police are taking down those barriers from the protesters that had been put up. And you recall that was a big problem. So that's the first thing. But the second side of this, frankly, probably is that the Trump administration and Donald Trump's looking at this and saying, this is not going to be politically sustainable. We got to figure out a way to deal with it. And the reason I say that second thing is because when you watch Tom Homan reading this statement, I think I detect in the guy a gritting of the teeth because he wants to keep going full bore, very hard at this. Mm-hmm. And the president may be saying, listen, let's just settle this down for a little while. We're making progress. Let's keep moving. And I don't know if that's the fact. That's me speculating. But the way he was reading it, it kind of looked like he was pretty miffed. And so, but he's going to do the job that the president tells him to do. The reality is this. It doesn't, listen, the Democrats are going to try to say they're backing down. We got them where we want them. And Tom Homan ain't going to say that. And I don't think he should. And the what they have achieved in this effort with Tom Homan's leadership is amazing. I really am convinced that he was going to leave it to Kristi Noem and Corey Lewandowski and them to take care of it. And it wasn't being handled well. I would judge it probably wasn't always handled well either. It was getting into chaos, not just because of the protesters. But I think the whole crew of ICE and those supporting them, CBP, are quite excellent. They're very good. And Tom Homan came in and read the Riot Act. And frankly, I think that they've achieved a lot in the area. And the numbers he shows are very good. So I'm not going to take the negative track here and say that Trump or Homan are backing down. But I do think they wanted to quiet this situation a little bit, or at least the president did, because he's the one that sent him there. And this is the result of that. And I think that they can go out with their heads high. They literally arrested thousands of violent criminals out of the Minneapolis area. And it's a great achievement. And they're going to continue to do it. He did say that. They're still going to be there doing things. He said he's still going to have backup forces available if things get out of hand again to support the ICE detentions that are taking place. So it's going to get twisted negative. It's not negative. Trump's kicking butt because he's got a great man, Tom Homan, helping him.
Yep. And it looks like there's been more fraud discovered, and they're continuing to discover fraud, particularly with the Somalian community. And I hope that doesn't stop. And I don't think it will. I think they're going to keep going with uncovering as much of this fraud as they can. But let's watch this report of a Somalian man named Muhammad Jama ran an NGO in Minnesota taking Medicaid payments. He was billing Medicaid $12,630 per month per person for care that was never given. Watch this.
Minnesota's fraud crisis came knocking.
We're here for the eviction.
Janelle Hansen, she goes by Sky, lived in a Minnetonka apartment
What?
when sheriff's deputies arrived,
I'm scared.
armed with an eviction order for Jane or John Doe.
I'm not Jane or John Doe. That's what's confusing.
Sky lived here as part of a Medicaid program called Integrated Community Supports, or ICS. It's designed to help adults with disabilities live independently in their own apartment with one-to-one daily assistance. She was ordered to pack up what she could carry
Grab what you've just packed because we need to exit the apartment now.
and get out.
No, we need to go. Come on.
Okay.
We need to go.
Let's go.
How are you?
Go.
Okay, sorry.
Set out to the hallway.
And like that, a vulnerable young woman put on the street.
Bye, house. Bye, house. What's about us?
How could this have happened? Our investigation finds it's tied to the allegations of Medicaid fraud now rocking Minnesota.
We've documented Sky's life of homelessness for the past 8 months, living out of her car, tents, shelters, and cheap hotels.
I think I just got kicked out of the hotels for being too autistic.
Her former caregivers, American Home Healthcare LLC, are under investigation for fraud. They were billing Sky's Medicaid $421 per day, claiming they always provided 12 hours of service.
Most days was like 2 hours, maybe 1 or 2 hours.
Under investigation, the company and its owner, Jama Mohammed, stopped paying rent.
Okay, let's go. Come on. Here you go. Push this.
So Sky got evicted. Just one of the vulnerable people paying the price through no fault of their own for Minnesota's fraud crisis. Thrown onto the street, homeless.
They say that your home is in your heart.
Wow. So don't even account for the money that's being taken from taxpayers. It's hurting people like her who are autistic and now being thrown onto the street because of this company.
Yeah, these costs should be borne by the states, by the way. I think, but the federal program is designed to try to help people like that. And she gets thrown to the side. By the way, one of the reasons I think that the ICE thing is gotten tamped down a bit by Tom Homan is so that they could focus on things like this. There's major fraud to undertake. Donald Trump, in an interview with Larry Kudlow this week, I think it was, he was talking about the fact that they're ramping up the fraud investigations in California. I'm sure they're doing it elsewhere. That's where the real problem is, and I'm sure that you guys have Rasmussen reports.
Mark Mitchell.
Mark Mitchell. Thank you. I keep wanting to say Meredith. I don't know why. Mark Mitchell has talked about the fact that the 25 to 49 range is being lost because of support for Trump because of the fact that the government's not being taken on. But that is the issue that has to really be focused on. Issues like this, like what this lady's going through, prove how bad this fraud can be. People get thrown into the trash, literally, so someone else can take our tax dollars. And it's absurd and it's outrageous. So listen, this is going to continue through this year. The fraud investigations are going to keep ramping up, and I'm convinced that there are going to be people going to jail and things being exposed that are beyond the pale. And that is what the American people voted for. They also voted for getting particularly criminal illegals, but really all illegals out of this country and get that situation fixed. So Donald Trump's focused on all the right things. And but this fraud thing, I mean, we're literally talking tens of billions, probably hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud that's taking place every year. And this has got to stop. So it's so sad when you see someone like this who thinks she's being taken care of and she's not, because they're throwing her on the street, literally.
Yeah.
And it's the police had to do it because of an eviction notice because the payments weren't getting paid. But it's the fraudster that ultimately did this.
Yep. And he needs to be held accountable. I'm guessing he is, obviously, if they're doing a report on it. But
he should go to jail.
Yeah.
Listen, I will say this. I am very frustrated by the fact that there aren't more people in jail right now. Now, there have been some the grand juries have put indictments out on dozens of people in the Minnesota area, but they're kind of the low-level people, it seems. We need these high-level people thrown in jail, and this has to get dealt with. If it's not dealt with, the American people are just going to have a massive backlash because they know how bad this is. But to get a lot of wins in this area is exactly what the American people want. And Donald Trump needs to keep pursuing this aggressively and tell Pam Bondi to do the same.
Yep. Well, here is Governor Tim Walz's reaction to the news of the operation. What was it? Operation. I
forget the name
surge or something, the ICE surge ending. Here is what he had to say.
I'm certainly not going to spike the football, but you're not going to hear me express any gratitude for the people who caused this unnecessary, unwarranted, and in many cases, unconstitutional assault on our state. And my expectation is we still need to have those investigations. And I'm telling you, in this economic crisis they created, all of these cabinet agents came in here to try and please the president by attacking Minnesota. So we have a $2 billion cut from Dr. Oz in our DHS programs that are rural hospitals and things. So it doesn't change it at all. And I think the lessons learned, I'm more than happy to help Congress say some things, is in America, you cannot expect that the people are going to be okay with masked, unidentified people running you off the road and coming to your vehicle at gunpoint like we saw in St. Peter, Minnesota. I'm certainly not going to spike.
All right. Well, I have a feeling he's partly worried now that this is stopping because there's no distraction now for the investigation of the fraud in his state.
Apparently. But listen, he needs to shut up.
Yeah.
There's nothing unconstitutional that's taken place in what happened in Minnesota. The unconstitutionality is on his part. He is thwarting a legal, appropriate use of government authority that has been given by Congress to do exactly what ICE has been doing there. The absurdity of this man. But I'll tell you what he's really worried about, or he ought to be worried about, and Trump should make him worried about, is the fact that he has blown off the fraud. And he has facilitated it in many ways. We found that out through congressional testimony recently. That needs to turn into grand jury indictments. And he does need to be held accountable. I hadn't heard that statement from him, but now it pisses me off even more. And I know that Tom Homan is pissed off because this guy is using this for political gain. Mm-hmm. He's a liar. He's a fraudster. We got to get rid of these liar, fraudster politicians. They need to pay the price. And he is a key player in the fraud that's taking place. You've got Democrats that were working in the state administration there are the ones that were testifying in Congress about the problem here. It's absurd. Tim Walz is an absurd political actor and possibly even criminal in his behavior. At least he needs to be investigated as such.
Yeah, and with a report like this for Tom Homan this morning, how can you be against the operation? ICE has located 3,364 missing migrant children in Minnesota, per Tom Homan.
Absolutely.
So
listen, that's one of the biggest parts of this. And as he said in his statement, Joe Biden's administration did nothing about that.
Yep.
They allowed these kids to be, and probably hundreds of thousands of them, thrown around the country, abused and misused. Joe Biden's the crook here, not Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Joe Biden's administration is the one that has acted in an absurd manner, not Donald Trump's. In fact, Donald Trump's duty bound to do everything that he's doing because it's in the law. These laws have not substantively changed since 1986. When the amnesty program happened, where they gave amnesty to about 1 million or 2 million illegals at the time in exchange for strict laws. Those strict laws are exactly what Donald Trump is enforcing with the help of Tom Homan. What Tim Walz is one of the most absurd political figures that we have had on the American scene, and he needs to be excoriated everywhere.
Yep. Well, we got to go to break, but we'll be right back here in just a moment.
We have a big announcement, folks. It's called Bella Melt. In the first week, you lost 3 pounds on this, right?
That is correct.
Your GLP-1 is a natural hormone that's in every single one of our bodies. And your GLP-1 lets you know if you're full. It's a satiety hormone. So when your GLP is working properly, it does help suppress your appetite as well as reduce those cravings. So what it's going to do best is it's going to reduce your sugar cravings or any other cravings you have in your body. It's going to suppress that appetite. But where Melissa got the most benefit, I think, over the last week was the L-carnitine. The L-carnitine tells your mitochondria, this is where you make, we talked about it before, this is where you produce energy in your cells. It actually tells those mitochondria to burn fat for fuel.
MelissaHouseBG.com just now introducing for the first time Bella Melt with GLP-1 fast action.
All right, welcome back from the break. Jim, I was thinking there, you said Tim Walz has got to be one of the craziest political figures. I think him and that Sri Thanador are right up there. I think they're...
Oh, my gosh.
I don't know who wins the award, but they're right up there with each other.
Well, no, Sri Thanador clearly wins it, but he doesn't have as much authority as Tim Walz does. So Tim Walz gets... goes up a little bit higher because he has executive authority in his state and he's abusing it and misusing it. Sri Thanador can only just be sitting in some hearing and say something stupid, and he says a lot stupid.
Yep. Well, let's go to this. Governor Newsom's wife interrupted a press conference as Gavin signed a $90 million emergency abortion funding bill. Let's see what she had to say.
We just find it incredulous that we have Planned Parenthood here, and women are 51% of the population. And the majority of the questions, all of these questions, have really been about other issues. So it's just fascinating. You have this incredible women's caucus and all these allies, and you're not asking about it. And this happens over and over and over and over again. You wonder why we have such a horrific war on women in this country, and that these guys are getting away with it, because you don't seem to care. So I just offer that with love. You have incredible women in this room, and you have these allies. Ask about what we're here for today, don't you think?
Such a horrific war on women by men.
She needs to shut up in love because they're funding the killing of babies in the womb. I don't care what she says about women's rights. There's no women's right to kill babies in the womb, period. This is one of the worst. The Democrat Party is a party of chaos and death and of authoritarianism. That's what the Democrat Party is all about. They're authoritarians who, by the way, not only kill babies in the womb, but fund the chaos on the streets that's been taking place during both Trump administrations. It's an outrage. She's literally insane. And don't say in love. She has no love for anybody. All she has is a vendetta against her political opponents. She is working very, very hard to promote these radical Maoist communist ideals that are the foundation of today's Democrat Party. It's an outrage. She just needs to shut up too. I mean, I'm sorry. I have no patience for people like this, because our anger should be focused on this behavior and these ideas. They're antithetical to reality. We live in a relativistic society where whatever I want at any given time is what I get to do, and damn the rest of you.
Yep.
That is not liberty and freedom. Liberty and freedom should be founded on people making their own decisions for their own lives. But they also do not get to thwart actual moral principles. And to kill babies in the womb is to destroy their lives. Those are human lives. We have tens of millions of babies, maybe even as many as 100 million babies that have been killed since the Roe v. Wade decision. Many before that, by the way, because some states had made it legal, Colorado being the first of them in 1960. It is an outrage what we have done to build a culture of death in this country. The Democrat Party is a culture of death. They stand for abortion. They stand for chaos. And as we saw in the Biden administration, they will take away every God-given individual liberty that this country was founded upon. This country once looked to God, recognizing that he is the ruler of the universe, that we are all subject to him, well, in our governing authorities and in our personal lives. We used to believe that as a country. Even if someone wasn't a believer in the strict sense of the word, they still understood that the moral law comes from a holy and righteous God. What she said there is absolutely absurd, because it ignores that fundamental fact. I always tell people, maybe even you're an atheist, but tell me which of the 10 commandments you don't like. Okay, so you don't want to honor God, but I doubt that you want to go worship idols, and you certainly don't want to kill or steal from people, and you don't want that to happen to you by other people. Tell me where we have gone so astray. And it's because we will not assert the fact that the moral authority of the universe is real. He watches the affairs of men, he judges the affairs of men, and that he withholds his complete anger for now until a final judgment day comes. If we cannot get back to some understanding of that significant fact, we will continue to struggle as a nation.
Yeah, and they do want to kill. I mean, that's what abortion is. It's murder. And
it is. It's killing.
Everyone can't, these people who are all abortion is healthcare, they can't argue it. When you press them on it, they can't argue it. I wasn't planning on playing this video, but it's too good not to play for the topic. This guy is a comedian. He does these videos where he approaches people acting like he's a liberal. And let's just watch this. This lady has a bumper sticker on her car that says abortion is healthcare. So he goes up and knocks on her door, and this is how it plays out.
Hi, how are you? Hi. Hey. I'm with the ASPCA, and we're just going door to door in the neighborhood asking people if they'd be willing to commit to a monthly donation.
Okay, maybe.
Okay, if I told you a little bit more about where your money would go, would that make you feel better?
Yes, it probably would.
Okay, so I'm with the Animal Rights Division, or the TARDS, and we're in charge of all of the health care for the animals that we serve. So 100% of your money would go to their health care.
Okay.
Is that something you might feel comfortable with?
Yeah, I probably would.
Okay, if you could just put your name here, an email address, and then where it says regarding or RE, just put TARDS. Okay. And so our biggest healthcare dilemma this year for the TARDS is there's just too many pups. So 100% of your money would go to help with the abortions of unwanted puppies.
Wait, what?
Yeah, to abort the unwanted pups because there's just so many young puppies. It's basically pups having pups, and they can't afford to raise their litter, and it's just a financial burden. So what we do is we help with aborting unwanted puppies.
Oh, well, no. I'm not comfortable with that.
Okay, is that your black sedan out front with the bumper stickers?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so you understand that abortion's health care?
Well, yes, but it's not. That bumper sticker isn't about animals.
What's it about?
It's about people.
Okay, so are you saying that a human baby in a womb is not worth as much as a pup in the womb?
No.
It's worth the same, right? So if it's
yes.
not okay to abort puppies, then it shouldn't be okay to do that to humans. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay, so abortion's not health care?
Well, I think no. I don't want to donate. I need to go. I need to go inside.
So would you agree then that abortion is murder?
Thanks for stopping by. You need to go,
ma'am. But before you leave, can we still count on your $19 monthly donation for the next 12 months?
But that just shows their brain rot. I mean,
hypocrisy.
Yeah, it's not for puppies. It's for humans. That she had the audacity to say that. Really?
What's one of the things that's really bad about this is her sensitivity is towards animals above humans. Now let's just think about that for a second, right? And it just shows how skewed her moral outlook is. I mean, the reality is that abortion has become a political wedge used by Democrats to make people feel uncomfortable, and actually, I mean, it's a money making endeavor. Why do you think Planned Parenthood is behind abortion? It's not because of healthcare; it's because of money. They get hundreds of millions of dollars every year from government, on top of hundreds of millions of dollars from other sources, to kill the unborn in the womb. It's absolutely absurd. She can't see. She's concerned about the culture of death that might come around the aborting of puppies, assuming there is such a procedure, and that's one of the funny things about this. But she's concerned about that there, but not about human beings.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the skewed way that people look. We have what I would characterize as a really harmful anthropology in this country. What do I mean by that? God designed human beings a certain way. He designed them in his image. He had designed them with a portion of his characteristics. We are a fallen race that needs to turn away from the immoral behavior that is within every one of us. And we stand before God in judgment, and he offers by grace an opportunity to break away from that. And these people don't even see it. We understood this in our country for most of our history. And you can point really to two things that are not the only point of departure from that, but are the key points of departure. And that is the Warren Court's Supreme Court ruling taking prayer out of schools, essentially saying that God doesn't belong in any government institution or any school institution. I mean, it wasn't limited just to government schools, although they dominate then and now. And the abortion issue. Both of these things are anti-life. They're against life. They break down the anthropology of man. Our requirement is to God, each one of us individually and as nations. And we've got to get back to that, and Christians need to assert it. And yet we got these progressive Christians out there that we talked about earlier in the week who really think that Bad Bunny is the good thing and TPUSA with Kid Rock sharing the gospel, or at least just pushing people toward the gospel, is the bad thing. Like the twisted minds that exist in this country are crazy. But I really do believe the majority of people in this country still see our original values as the most important thing that we need to be putting into culture.
Sorry about that. I was muted. We got to close out, but that follows right along with what I was going to show lastly with the majority of people. I think the majority of people reject people like the video we just showed, the woman in the video we just showed. And even CNN admits 58% of voters now agree that the Democrat Party has gone too far left. Voters who say the Democrats are now too liberal, 42% in 96, 48% in 2013. Now 58% in 2025 of all voters say the Democrat Party is too liberal.
And liberal is not a fair term because liberality is about freedom and about doing what's right. They are literally communist Maoist. And I think the American people, that 58%, understand that at some level.
Yep. Well, we're all out of time. Go to theconservativecaucus.com to keep up with Jim and catch us next week at worldviewtube.com. Take care.